There's no tougher titty than a psychotic break, Rick.
Rick Sanchez might be the smartest man in the cosmos, but even a genius with an interdimensional portal gun can't escape making mistakes that slip past the animators and into our screens. The very first mistake is from Anatomy Park. That'll make any science nerd's head spin. Rick shrinks Morty down and sends him inside a homeless man's body to visit an amusement park built inside human organs. Creative? Absolutely. Scientifically accurate? Not even close. When Morty's exploring the lungs, he's roughly the same size as a single alveolus. That's about 200 micrometers for those keeping track at home. Everything seems fine until hepatitis A shows up and attacks. Here's where things get weird. This virus is absolutely massive. We're talking giant compared to Morty, towering over him like some kind of microscopic kaiju. Problem? In reality, viruses are tiny compared to bacteria. Hepatitis A should be microscopic even at Morty's scale. The animators basically made it the size of a building when it should barely be visible. Either the show's taking some serious creative liberties with cellular biology, or somebody skipped their high school science class. Either way, this size inconsistency is hilariously wrong. Speaking of plot holes, let's talk about one of Rick's customers who left viewers scratching their heads. Chrombopulous Michael was this wealthy alien who bought weapons from Rick and worked as a competitor to the former Galactic Federation. Pretty straightforward so far. Here's where it gets confusing. When Morty was driving Rick's spaceship, he randomly killed Michael. Turns out, Michael was actually on his way to assassinate Fart, that gaseous alien whose whole purpose was eliminating all non-gaseous life forms, heavy stuff. But wait, who hired Michael in the first place? The show introduces this assassination plot and then just never addresses it again.
Got it! Yeah!
Thanks, Rick. I'll try to remember to shut up.
In The Ricks Must Be Crazy, we get what might be the most Rick thing ever. His car battery is actually an entire miniature universe. Let me explain this insanity. Rick created a microverse inside a box and developed intelligent life within it. He gave these tiny beings something called Google boxes, and when they stomp on them, they generate energy. Sounds cool, right? Except the beings think they're powering their own civilization, when really, most of that energy is going straight to Rick's car.
Oh, great. Oh boy, what's wrong?
Let's talk about the Smith family dynamics for a second, because there's something weird going on with Summer's involvement in adventures. The relationship between Rick and Morty is central to the show. We get it. But Beth and Jerry have 2 kids, and Summer constantly gets sidelined. Rick almost exclusively takes Morty on adventures. Summer only gets to tag along occasionally, and when she does, it feels random. The show never really explains why Rick picked Morty as his adventure companion over Summer. Is it because Morty's younger and easier to manipulate? Because his brain waves provide some kind of camouflage?
To make dinner every night.
Of course I do, silly. Oh my god, Dad.
M. Night Shyamalan's features aliens trying to trick Rick into giving them the formula for concentrated dark matter. They put him in a simulation within a simulation, really going for that Inception vibe. Rick figures out their scheme and decides to mess with them. He tells them the formula is 2 parts plutonic quarks, which he specifically says is pink, and 1 part cesium, which is green. Simple enough, right? Here's where the aliens mess up. Or rather, where the animators mess up. When the scammers replicate Rick's formula, they actually use 2 parts of the green cesium and 1 part of the pink plutonic quarks. They literally got it backwards. Somehow, despite mixing the formula incorrectly, it still works and causes a massive explosion.
All your most valuable secrets will now be ours!
In Morty's night run, Rick saves Morty and Fart by making a pretty clever move. He fills Fart's cell with water and uses portals to flush out the enemies. It's a cool action sequence that shows off Rick's quick thinking under pressure. Except there's one massive problem that makes this entire rescue impossible. Remember how Morty got into that cell in the first place? He crashed through the wall, creating a giant hole. You know, the same hole they literally used to escape right after Rick's water trick. So how exactly did Rick fill a room with water when there's a massive hole in the wall? The water would just pour right out. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button, or you might end up trapped in a microverse powering someone's spaceship. Here's a quick one from an early episode. In Season 1, Episode 2, Jerry has a TV remote sitting on the arm of his sofa. It's right there in frame, clearly visible. Then Snuffles has an accident on the floor, and when the camera cuts back to the sofa, the remote has completely disappeared. No one picked it up. No one moved it. It just ceased to exist between shots. Maybe it fell into a portal? Maybe Evil Morty needed it? Or maybe it's just another continuity error in a show that moves fast enough that most people don't notice these things on the first watch.
Had to happen. And because I have a human shield. Mrs. Pancake!
Okay, this one's nitpicky, but for a show that prides itself on scientific accuracy, or at least scientific-sounding nonsense, this is embarrassing. In Anatomy Park, E. coli bacteria chase Morty through the body. The animators drew them with spindly legs attached to stocky midsections and sharp geometric heads. The problem? That's not what E. coli looks like at all. That design is based on the cellular structure of a virus. In reality, E. coli is a rod-shaped bacterium, basically a tiny cylinder. The difference is pretty significant in microbiology. In Season 1, we meet Gearhead, a character whose face is literally made of rotating gears. When he talks, 3 gears on his face spin to represent mouth movement. It's a cool design that makes him instantly memorable. But here's the issue. The placement of these gears is completely inconsistent between shots. Sometimes the bottom orange gear appears on top of the right gear and behind the left gear. Other times, a profile shot shows the bottom gear jutting out past the top 2 yellow ones. These positions are physically impossible if the gears are actually connected and rotating together. It's like the animators couldn't decide on the actual mechanical structure and just moved things around to look cool. In each individual shot, Gearhead deserves better than this mechanical nightmare.
I can't believe we're getting Gear Crane with a Vindicator.
So, you girls in gear.
In Morty's Mind Blowers, Morty explores memories that were forcibly removed from his mind. There's a scene where he sits on a bench while Rick shows him deleted memories. Seems normal enough. But if you pay close attention to Morty's size compared to the bench before and after the memory plays, something weird happens. Morty literally changes size between shots. He suddenly grows larger for no apparent reason. And we're not talking about a subtle difference. This is noticeable enough that fans caught it. In a show where size-changing technology exists and gets used regularly, you'd think they'd have an explanation. Nope. Morty just spontaneously gets bigger because the animators needed him to be a different size for the next scene's composition.
On 3, 1, 2.
You guys.
Vindicators 3, The Return of World Ender, introduces us to a superhero team that protects the galaxy. During a scene where the group assembles around their meeting table, Alan Rails is sitting next to Supernova Everyone's accounted for, and the shot is clear. Then Vance Maximus enters the room, and suddenly Alan completely disappears from his seat. Just gone. Not in the bathroom, not getting a snack. Vanished from existence. Then in the very next shot, Alan's back in his original spot like nothing happened. Unless Alan Rails has teleportation powers that were never mentioned, this is just the animators forgetting to draw him in one frame. It's especially noticeable because it happens so quickly between cuts. When Rick de-ages himself to attend school with Morty, there's a scene where Tiny Rick first appears. In the initial shot, he's positioned behind a locker on Morty's right side. Makes sense for a dramatic reveal. But then, in the very next shot, Tiny Rick is suddenly on Morty's left side instead. He also appears to be standing in front of a completely different locker, further to the right. So either Tiny Rick moves at superhuman speed, or somebody mixed up the layout between storyboards.
Wow. Did you just come into the cafeteria through a portal?
Yeah, well...
For a character introduction that's supposed to be memorable and cool, having him teleport between shots kind of ruins the impact. Though, to be honest, Tiny Rick is so entertaining that most people probably didn't notice this error the first time through. If you want more videos breaking down your favorite animated shows, check out our other content for details you'll never look at the same way again.